2 years after its 50th anniversary, the Bratislava Biennial of Illustrations returned for its 26th edition, once again opening the door to a world of knowledge and imagination. This year, the event was held at a new site, at the Slovak National Museum. Visitors at the BIB could peek inside the fantastical worlds of children from many corners of the globe. Through book illustrations, they could learn about various cultures and admire compelling visual artworks of international rank. The best illustrations were recognized by a professional jury. This year, the Grand Prix went to Dutch illustrator Ludwig Volbeda for his work on birds. The award was accepted by Dutch ambassador to the Slovak Republic, Mr. Henk van den Kwaas. Meanwhile, the Golden Apples rolled out to Japan, Russia, and South Korea, and also to Iranian illustrator Nargis Mohammadi for his work on I Was a Deer. The award was accepted by the artist's compatriot and member of the jury, Ali Bozari.
It's almost 50 years ago that the first publishing house specifically started publishing book for a young reader, for kids. This book, of course, not completely, strictly, not very in a straight way, but try to tell readers about the environment and about the situation when all the animals and all environment have been destroyed completely by human being.
One of the Golden Apples stayed in Slovakia. It was awarded to Daniela Olejnikova for her work on the escape and on the unique encyclopedia Verminarium. The Escape is a story of heroism. There's no sentimentality, no cheap emotional appeals. Quite to the contrary. It is simply a story about a boy and his dog and about the heroic ways in which they meet life's challenges. The author, Marek Vadas, who has done a lot of traveling around Africa, has a way of projecting his adventures into his writing. That makes the illustrator's work very satisfying. As for Verminarium, it's a very unusual encyclopedia indeed. These days, it's very easy to find all manner of information about animals on the internet, so I could afford to adopt a very imaginative approach. The main statutory awards at the BIB, 5 plaques, 5 golden apples and the Grand Prix, are awarded by an international jury. This year, the jury comprised 9 members from 9 countries and was chaired by Yukiko Hiramatsu from Japan.
We selected 11 winners, but now that we have so different backgrounds and cultural differences. It looks very simple, but it's a multi-dimensional perspective. They need not only artistic or technical dimension, but also we need the sight of children.
It's very difficult to illustrate a book from a child's perspective because the illustrators aren't children, but adults. And even though they're illustrating children's books, they will always be somewhat removed from the subject matter.
Y que ilustra para un niño.
One of the criteria was whether the books and illustrations were in any way conducive to a child's development. We decided to honor books that cultivate children's taste. Another important criterion was artistic diversity. We wanted to recognize books that were different in terms of style. I prefer illustrations which convey a certain atmosphere. Sometimes you can do that with a single stroke. It's especially apparent in illustrations from countries like China and Japan, because for them, atmosphere is very important. European illustration is more focused on the narrative, it's more complex. But sometimes a watercolor sky and umbrella are enough to convey a message just as clearly as a more descriptive illustration might.
One particular book which struck my attention is this book. The writer said that it's an Oriental person, Japanese, but the drawings are so delicate, so appealing, and it's just about a simple plant, dandelion.
The BIB exhibitions and the chosen illustrations from the jury teaches us what pictures are good, pictures that have a message for children, but for adults too. So in this time of visual communications, BIB is even more important than 50 years ago.
Apart from Grand Prix, the Golden Apples and Plaques, the BIB also gives out other awards. This year's Mayor of Bratislava award went to Svetozar Koszycki, who deals in mystical themes and who entered the competition with the book Demons, Witches and Other Monsters. Demons and Witches is an original study of paranormal creatures in our folklore. I don't know of any other such volume in our literary tradition, so I very much enjoyed working on it. I could really let my creativity soar. The Pocztowa Banka Award for exceptional contribution to illustration went to the living legend of children's illustration, Dušan Kalaj.
Táto cena ma veľmi teší, musím sa priznať.
It's a great honor to have received this award because it doesn't just acknowledge my artistic work, but also my teaching. I sometimes say, with a hint of humor, that the illustrator is the first person who can make a real change to a book. With a few whimsical strokes, he can turn Hamlet into a comedy and make a comedy into a tragedy.
Z komédie môže urobiť tragédiu podľa toho, jak sa mu chce.
Apart from the expert jury, the children's jury also gave out their award. They had most liked the illustrations by Slovak visual artist Peter Uchnar. While every award at the BIB has its significance, the one given by the visitors, and especially the children, is unique.
Veľmi dôležitou súčasťou samozrejme je aj to, že aby došli diváci.
It's very important for the biennial to be able to attract visitors. This year, because we had moved the event to the Slovak National Museum, we had to try somewhat harder. We split the venue in 2 rooms. One of them will be hosting workshops and seminars, including a workshop for mothers and children, which is a complete novelty. I was there and really enjoyed it. We'll see whether it resonates with the mothers and children as well. In the other room, there is something like a movie theatre, where we'll be screening Slovak animated films so that the children have a broader choice of activities. The biennial also provides a platform for informal meetings and discussions. This year, as part of a regular BIB symposium, illustrators and visual arts theorists from 10 countries talked about the relationship between art and business in children. I most enjoyed the contributions which emphasized the fact that not everything that is made with an eye to business is necessarily lacking in terms of artistic quality. Because, of course, books have to sell. Visual artists and illustrators always try their best, and just because they work on something that's intended for commercial purposes doesn't mean it's bad. It's simply more marketable. Many excellent visual artists have done work on commercially attractive titles. The BIB was organised in collaboration with the UNESCO International Board on Books for Young People, otherwise known as IBI. This collaboration has grown stronger over the years, as confirmed by the Executive Director of IBI, Liz Page.
The BIB is a very important institution, and it brings home to people around the world the importance of good illustrations, and also encourages the young illustrators and the young writers to do better. And I think you can't overestimate the importance of the BIB, because it reaches everywhere. We'd like it to reach more. We encourage all our members to submit nominations, and we encourage more and more, and we try to reach more people. And I think this is showing now that the number of nominations is growing.
The global significance of the biennial is also evidenced by the fact that BIB exhibitions annually take place in over 40 countries all over the world, including in Japan, South Korea, and China.
I found that people are very fascinated with BIB works. In 2015, there was a Chinese person won the Golden Apple Award. And within 10 minutes after the announcement, there were many people from around the world send emails to me, say, congratulations, and I was surprised and excited.
As per tradition, the biennial also hosted the International BIB UNESCO Albin Brunovsky workshop. 10 young visual artists from around the globe were illustrating stories from their homelands under the creative supervision of famed Slovak illustrator Juraj Martiška. The first thing we did was to set the theme. They were ready. They had prepared some sketches and outlines beforehand. We sat down together, looked at the pictures, and talked about everyone's intentions. It was mostly about making sure that they could convey the entire story in just 3 pictures. The importance of the biennial grows every year, as does the commercial pressure on the field of illustration. Every day around the world, we see the publication of hundreds of books of varying quality. It's a business, so the mainstream naturally dominates. This means there's a considerable surfeit of sentimental, kitschy stories, comics, and so on. By identifying and recognizing the best illustrations from around the world, the BIB is continuously raising the quality of children's illustrated books, and I think it's also encouraging publishers to cross the Rubicon of the mainstream. The 11 awards we give out at the biennial are universally recognized as mantles of prestige, and the laureates get published around the world. The BIB and its main international partners, UNESCO and IBI, have a common goal, that children only get the best of the best in terms of illustrated literature. It's a long and difficult road, but I think it's worth making for all of us. What is the future of the biennial? 25 editions, that's a very impressive number. It means that I've been involved with the biennial for over 50 years, ever since I started it. I think that the biennial is having a positive impact on children's books around the world. To this day, we have organized exhibitions in 110 countries on 5 continents. And I think that if the biennial is going to survive, the organizers will have to draw in artists from developing countries.